Hey, greetings! Welcome back to Sean's Irish Whiskey Shelf, coming at you from the heart of the United States out here in the Midwest. And gosh, it has been a really long time since we've had a little bit of Irish whiskey together. Life got in the way, work and volunteer work, and had a little bit of a health problem that kept me from enjoying my Irish whiskey. All of that just kind of came together, and before you knew it, a whole year or more actually has gone by since we've enjoyed some Irish whiskey. But I'm back, and I don't know that I'm going to be able to do this every week. I'm going to try, but some weeks I might miss. But I'm really excited about being able to spend time with all of you again. So we're going to kick off the next phase here of Sean's Irish Whiskey Shelf by looking at a bottle of Irish whiskey that I used to have. This is a brand new bottle. I received it within the past week. I actually had this bottle when I first moved to the Midwest back in 2021. Some of you who have been around the channel for a while may have heard me mention the Great Irish Whisky Disaster of 2021. When we first moved in here, I only had 2 shelves behind me. I didn't have all 4 like I have now. I only had 2, and I didn't have them supported well enough. Look, I'm a computer guy that likes to smoke cigars and drink Irish whiskey. Well, evidently didn't put enough support on one of those shelves, and it happened to be the top shelf. So it came down, took the bottom shelf with it, and I lost a lot of Irish whiskey. I got most of those bottles back, but this particular bottle was really hard to come by. I just never seemed to be able to find it. So found it recently, and I'm happy to say that I'm now down to only 2 bottles left that I haven't been able to find. One of them is Kern Irish whiskey. It's in a really nice green bottle. And the other one was a bottle, that one really broke my heart. I lost some Teeling 12-year-old Irish whiskey. Those 2 I've never been able to find ever since. But I did find this recently, and I'm excited to give this a try. So what we have today is a bottle of Prizefight Irish whiskey. If you can find this on the shelf somewhere, it should run you about the $45 to $55 range. So for a whiskey that is not age stated whiskey, so there's nothing on here that says it's 3 years old, 5 years old, whatever. It's kind of pricey for a non-age stated whiskey, but supposedly it's very good. We're going to find out. I have yet to taste this since I got it in. This is the first pour I've had of this whiskey. We're going to try it together. So let's talk a little bit about Prizefight Irish whiskey. This is not distilled by Prizefight distillers or anything like that. They actually get the whiskey sourced from West Cork distillers, and you can see there's some West Cork right there. ABV on this is 43%, so 86 proof. A little bit higher than what you'd find in a lot of your common whiskeys. Jameson, Tullamore Dew, Bushmills, those are all usually in the 40%, 80 proof range. So it's got a little bit more kick to it. It's usually pretty good. I like mine with a little more octane in there. This is a blend. And from what I've been able to find, it's a blend of 10-year-old single malt and a 4-year-old grain. And that's what you're going to find in a lot of these blends. A single malt and a grain, or maybe a single malt and a single pot still, or maybe just a malt and a pot still. But in this particular case, 10-year-old single malt and 4-year-old grain. Now, the really interesting thing about this, it's finished in American rye barrels. Most of the whiskey behind me here never touches a rye barrel. In fact, they make it very clear that this is the first the first Irish whiskey to be finished in American rye barrels. Apparently, it finishes in there for 6 months. So I like rye. I particularly like Bullet rye. That's one that I like a whole lot. I also like Powers Irish rye. That's a really good pour right there. So we're going to see how the rye finishing works with this. We have tried Keeper's Heart. We have some Keeper's Heart down here that was finished in rye, and I wasn't a real big fan of that. Didn't think that the rye finish was very good in that. I just didn't like the flavor profile. So we're going to see how Prizefight does. Now this whiskey, it's a collaboration. So two men, it's a brainchild of two men, Stephen Grass, who apparently developed and is the brains behind Hendrick's Gin. I am not a gin drinker at all. So if any of you are gin drinkers, and if that's good gin, I'll take your word for it, okay? The other gentleman is Floor Pendergast, and he is a very well-known Irish spirits entrepreneur or innovator. So the two of them got together and developed Prizefight. Now, on the label, you can see there are two fighters, hence the name, Prizefight. So this whiskey, the label, the name, commemorates one of the biggest bare-knuckle fights in American history. Now remember, boxing was bare-knuckle for quite some time, and that wasn't really legal either. We're going to find out here in a minute. You've got John Morrissey versus Yankee Sullivan. Now, this fight took place in 1853. This went for 37 rounds. Apparently, in the bare-knuckle fighting world, you kept fighting until someone took a knee or couldn't get up. There was no 12-round TKO kind of thing. No, you fought till the end. And they sure did. 37 rounds with each other. So, as I said, John Morrissey and Yankee Sullivan. John Morrissey, he's pictured here in the red. John Morrissey was 23, born in Ireland, went by the nickname Old Smoke, and he was a pretty tough guy. For 23, he had ties to the old Tammany Hall political machine. So at 23, he was doing pretty good, huh? Guy on the other side here in the blue-gray shorts, well, that was Yankee Sullivan. And at the time, Yankee Sullivan was 40, also Irish-born. He was the reigning American prize fighting champion. So you had John Morrissey and Yankee Sullivan, the newcomer versus the old dog who was sitting on the top of the hill. So the fight was held at Boston Corners in front of an estimated between 3,000 and 4,500 spectators. And Boston Corners was chosen. Remember I said it wasn't legal to be doing this kind of fighting. Well, Boston Corners was chosen because it was kind of out of reach of law enforcement. So they didn't have to worry about the cops showing up and busting them up, right? Anyway, 37 rounds. Finally, at the end, the ref disqualified Sullivan, our reigning champion. There's a lot of controversy about how the fight ended. Some say that Sullivan left the ring illegally. Some say Morrissey tried to throw him out of the ring. Whatever the case, the ref disqualified Sullivan, but that didn't really go over very well with the Sullivan camp. In fact, what I've been able to read is that after the ref disqualified Sullivan and gave the fight to Morrissey, the Sullivan camp refused for a while to cover any of the bets. So that did not go over very well. They eventually did make good on their bets, but what ensued was a lot of infighting between the Sullivan camp and the Morrissey camp, which led to a lot of violence in New York, even some murders, as these two groups of supporters continued to battle it out. In the end, Morrissey took his winnings, opened up a gambling den, and even became a U.S. representative. So he took the fame of winning this fight and continued on up the ladder there. Of course, like I said, he had the ties to Tammany Hall, so I guess going on to be a U.S. representative, that wasn't a very long leap, was it? So, anyway, that is a little bit about the history, why it's called Prizefight. It is one of the biggest bare knuckle fights in American history. We've also looked at John L. Sullivan. We've got that one right here. Now, of course, John L. Sullivan was a bare-fisted fighter, and we had a previous video about this one, which that was actually a pretty good whiskey. I recall that I liked that one. I'm kind of running out of that one too, so I don't drink that very much. So let's give Prizefight a try here. Now, it's very light in color. It's not dark. Some of the whiskeys we have a little bit more color to them, but this is a little bit on the light side. That's all right. For those of you that are new, just to remind you, this is a blue collar palate. I'm not going to tell you I taste notes of honey and toast and chocolate and almonds and berries and all that. I like Irish whiskey. I'm going to tell you whether I like it or not, and if there's anything particular about it that kind of draws me in or pushes me away. So that's what we're going to do here. It's got a nice nose. Again, I don't know all the different, but I can tell you it smells nice. Okay, so that's got a little bit more burn than I would have expected for only 86 proof. That is, yeah, that's got a little bit of a burn to it. Would I drink it? Yes. I think I would like it more. Maybe cut with a little bit of ice, just to kind of take off that burn a little bit. But it's not a bad whiskey. It's not a bad whiskey at all. I'm not sure that I would be ready to make this an everyday drinker. I think there's others in this price point for the $50 bottle that I would prefer to use as an everyday drinker if I were to do that. I still do Tullamore Dew. Tullamore Dew is my everyday. I mean, heck, you can get a 1.75 bottle here in the Midwest for about $60, and that's perfect. Yeah, it's not bad. It's just a little bit on the strong side or the harsh side. Just a little bit more burn, I think, than I would have expected. The taste, I think it kind of goes with the fact that that the whiskey is kind of light in color. I almost think it's got a little bit more of the grain coming through in this. I don't know how much of the grain whiskey versus the single malt is in here. It kind of has the kind of grain taste to it, the grain whiskey taste, which is it's not my favorite, but I would not turn this down. If offered to me, I would absolutely drink a bottle with someone. It's just I don't think I'd make it my everyday. One more try here. Yeah. It definitely has that almost like a rye burn, if you will. Do I taste the rye like I would in my bullet rye, or maybe a Sazerac, wild turkey, which, by the way, wild turkey rye, I've had that. That's pretty good too. It's almost got the kind of burn that I would expect from a rye whiskey. Put it that way. I would expect this kind of alcohol burn from a rye, not necessarily from an Irish whiskey, I think. But the flavor is there. Little bit on the weak side, I think. 1 to 5, with 5 being I would go to the ends of the earth to find a bottle of this, and I would probably do just about anything to drink it, versus a 1 being I wouldn't touch it with your 10-foot pole. I would give this a 3. I would give this a solid 3 is where I'd put it. So that is what I think about Prizefight. Again, your mileage may vary. If your palate's like mine, there you go. If your palate is not like mine, then you may like it or you may absolutely hate it. All of our palates are different, and that's what makes drinking whiskey what it is, because we all enjoy what we enjoy, and if you like it, drink it. That's how you have to do that. So that is all I have for you today. I have a lot of bottles behind me that I've picked up since I stopped doing videos, and we're going to cover those together. There's one in particular that I picked up that we haven't done yet that I was really, really surprised about, and that is Redbreast 18. I did manage to get a bottle of that. I was very surprised by it. I won't tell you which way I was surprised. We'll save that for a video, but I was surprised. So we'll get that in an upcoming video. I was able to get some Teeling single pot still. I love single pot still. My regular viewers know that is where you find me, is a good bottle of single pot still. So I haven't opened that one yet. Can't wait. We gotta tear into that one. I don't know whether I'm gonna do that or the 18 next, but we'll get them both pretty soon. And in the meantime, thank you very much, those of you who have stuck with me, checked on me. I still got comments on the channel here. Received a couple of emails just checking up on me. Remember, if you do like what you're seeing here, don't forget, give me a thumbs up. Click on subscribe. You'll be notified when I do a new video. It means a lot to me, and it helps out the YouTube algorithms to make sure that I get some visibility here and there. So keep drinking your Irish whiskey. Enjoy it. Just remember to drink responsibly. And until we have another pour together, I want you to be well and be safe. All right? Sláinte. Bye now.